Good morning. This is Ronnie Cole with RonColeHomes.com, coming to you, bringing you local tips and tricks in order to help you better navigate your local real estate market. So today, what I want to talk with you about is closing. Again, I haven't told many people, but I am affiliated with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, and here in the Atlanta area, my office is affiliated with a law firm called Wiseman, Nowak, Curry, and Wilco. And they provide a lot of really great information in helping you to basically close on your home. So those are basically the attorneys that we use. And so working with them, we've kind of put together, some basic information and tools just to kind of help you, to let you know what are the next steps and what really happens once you get to the closing. A lot of people may seem to think or not really know, okay, well, we found a house and, we put an offer on it and we sent out an inspection. We did an inspection. The house had an appraisal. It passed appraisal. I had an inspection. It passed inspections. You did that. You're basically your due diligence period was done, and you're happy. And now, the loans and everything have been approved by your mortgage, your bank, your mortgage advisor, the underwriters, and all those good guys. Or you could be paying cash on a deal, but all of that's done, and now you move to the closing. So for a lot of first-time home buyers, they may not know, well, what is the closing or what happens at the closing. So I want to bring you some quick little information just to kind of better help you in the process. So let's start off with the basic question. What is the closing? Basically, the closing is just when, people that are involved in the real estate transaction or the real estate contract, that's when they come together just to finalize the transaction. Basically, at the closing table, all required documents are executed, basically meaning you're signing them. And title is transferred from the seller to the buyer, and funds are collected and dispersed. And that's basically it. Now, you may want to know, okay, well, what kinds of information will you need to bring to the closing? Or what information that I need to provide before closing? So in the buyer's realm, buyers are usually responsible for providing a couple different things. One, you need to contact your lender to make sure that everything is perfectly set and ready to go, that the loan has been approved, all the underwriting is done, and they've given you a clear to close. Your homeowner's insurance, you need the premium amount and a copy of the policy declarations page. Basically, you just need to have proof of homeowner's insurance without getting all technical on you. Aside from that, you may need to have a termite letter. This does not apply in all cases, but you may or may not need it. Several laws do vary in different states. As well, a home warranty. You don't necessarily always have to have that. Again, that applies and is applicable between state to state. And any other, special information that you may think is helpful. Now, as a seller, if you're selling the home, you're usually responsible for these following things, and that's things that you probably need to do, to make sure that there aren't any issues. So simple things like making sure you've done all your forwarding information, forwarding all of your mail, and from your old address, start forwarding that to your new address. You'll need to, and basically you need to have your forwarding address with you. Make sure you got a copy of your Social Security information, Social Security card. Make sure you have your number. Any payoff information for if there are still any outstanding loans that may be on the property. Information about your homeowners association or condo association, if your property or your home does have that. Whether you've been the only person living there, usually you'll probably have disclosed that information beforehand, and any other special information that you might think will be helpful. So, what should I bring with me at the time of the closing? Great question. So at the time of the closing, you really should plan on bringing the following. You want to have your non-expired, a driver's license, basically an ID. Any documents that your attorneys have told you in advance that you'll need to bring with you, and your checkbook, just in case you may have to pay a little bit more in the event that. And usually, most attorneys nowadays will have you do a wire transfer if you're needing to transfer any funds. Um, and with that transfer of funds, that's basically saying, hey, my down payment, you're transferring your down payment to the attorney's office, and you do that maybe a couple of days or so in advance, and the attorneys give you all of that particular wiring information. But they tell you to bring your checkbook in the event that once they start doing the closing process, they find that, hey, we may be $1,000 short because of X, Y, or Z. Now with the new truth in lending statements, buyers have to get that information at least 3 days before the closing, so that they have time to review all of the different loan documentation and all of the monies that they will need to close. Now, as a seller, what should you bring? Again, the seller, you should bring your ID. If you have a existing home warranty, that would be great to bring. Any keys, garage door openers, any special codes that the new owner may need in order to access the property. And then as well, any additional documents that may be required by your attorney or lender. So next question is, will the closing take a long time, and is it a complicated procedure? No. The answer to that is no. In closing, I would probably tell you to plan for about an hour. And sometimes it can be less than that. If you're working with a really skilled attorney, they'll have everything printed out, ready to go. In some cases, they may even already have sent you the information to sign. But when you're there and both parties are meeting at the table to transfer all documents, probably I would say a bit on about an hour, because all it really is just you're signing a lot of documents, in regards to loan documents and transferring title and all of this good information. And again, let me make this disclaimer. I am not an attorney, nor I am not a financial advisor or mortgage or loan advisor. I'm simply a real estate certified licensed real estate agent. So that's to answer your question there. Where does your closing take place? Great question. Closings usually take place at the attorney's office that you have chosen. Usually the seller chooses the closing location. Now, to be honest, that is something that can be negotiated in the contracting process, because when the buyer writes up a contract, a purchase and sale agreement, you honestly can write in, closing to take place at X law firm. Now, it's up to the seller to agree, which, usually doesn't happen. Most of the time, a seller wants to have their own attorneys be the closing attorney for the transaction. Let's see here. Last question. If I am a buyer, how will I know how much money is needed for closing? Basically, if you're a buyer, you, as I kind of touched on before, you're going to get that truth in lending statement. And basically, there's a new process that came out in late October, and it's fairly new. Even with it being, what is this, May now, May of 2016. That process is still fairly new. So, you still have people that are getting, especially if they haven't completed a transaction or a sale before, that may get tripped up. Usually if you have a really great lender, they will help you to stay abreast of what's going on. But they provide this document to you well in advance of your closing date, so you'll know just how much money you'll need to bring to the table. And a lot of the times, the earnest money that you put down on the home, if you put earnest money down at all, most of the time people do. But again, that is something that can vary. All sales are very different. People work and structure contracts and deals very differently. But that earnest money, if you did have some, can be also the buyer who puts the earnest money would be able to apply that towards the any of the closing, would be able to apply that earnest money deposit towards the funds that are due. So it's just subtracted out. And all funds again are sent via wire transfer these days. There's been so much fraud has gone on that most attorneys now have to be very cautious in how they allow and how they accept money and how they send you the information because of fraud. So one major point is make sure it is your attorney that is sending you wiring instructions. Make sure it's your real estate agent that was able to get you that information. If it's coming from your real estate agent, great. If it's coming from the attorney directly, great as well. I would just, maybe call, verify with the law firm and say, hey, my name is, XYZ, and I'm scheduled to have a closing this date, and I received wire instructions, and I just want to make sure that this is the correct wiring number for your law firm. And that's, just kind of being smart. In huge real estate transactions where you may be transferring 10, 20, 50, or even $100,000, just depending on, your price range, it kind of makes sense to make sure that you're transferring the money to the correct place. And that's pretty much, that's just kind of like the gist, a really brief overview of the closing process. So, I hope this information was really able to kind of help you, to give you, maybe shine a little light bulb to you on the closing process. Again, I'm here to help you out. I'm Ronnie Cole with RonColeHomes.com, and I am your local Atlanta real estate agent here to assist you in any way that I can. Feel free to reach out to me. My website is www.roncolehomes.com, RonColehomes.com. You can always feel free to email me. All of my contact information is on my website, and you can email me, Facebook message me, send me, look at my Twitter, LinkedIn post, all that. So look forward to working with you. Hopefully these tips were able to help you today. And I wish you the best on your real estate journey, and have a great day.